Hi guys, welcome to Motor Vessel SeaWitch. The mighty SeaWitch crossed the Pacific last year, actually 2018. We took a route from Mexico, Cabo, San Jose del Cabo to the Marquesas, and from Marquesas to Tahiti, and from Tahiti we went to Cook Islands, and from Cook Islands to Tonga, and Tonga, New Zealand. So the boat is currently in New Zealand at the dry dock in Whangarei shipyard. It's a wonderful place. I'm very glad with the service here. I decided and ordered lithium-ion batteries to transition from the old 6-volt golf carts that I had. I had total of 22 of them. I'm replacing 18 and leaving 4 for my starting. I did some research and ordered 300 amp hour batteries from Polynovel. It's a Chinese company. It's probably one of the big manufacturers of lithium ion batteries in China, and the batteries look very well built. I just received them, and I will show you the unpackaging. And here are the batteries that those 3 batteries will be replacing. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 golf carts, and I have 4 more on the back for a total of 18 golf carts. 4 from the Lazaret are not removed yet, but they are fully isolated, so I will do that another day. I'm a little tired from yesterday carrying all those batteries down. So here is the battery box. 3 battery boxes arrived on a container, and the shipyard here received them for me because I was in Vancouver at the time. We just arrived back on the boat a few days ago, and my first order of business was to open the batteries and to see how they look and how they're packed and what voltages they have and so on and so forth. So far they look wonderful, and there is one of them, 300 amp hours, and as I said, the batteries are from a company called Polynovel. I've been dealing with them and they've been very helpful along the way. Those batteries are custom built for me, and they put in a RJ45 connector here. Oh, this is little loose, where the BMS controller should be able to talk to the system that I designed to monitor the batteries. So this is the output from the BMS controller. They provided me with the protocol, and soon in another video I'll be showing you the controller. Okay, here this is a little bit this is a connector for the RJ45, and again it's using standard connector, which is good, easy to get. So yeah, I'm satisfied with the packaging. They were all 3 tied up on a container, on a pallet, so they were easy to transport, and the battery yard got them into the boat for me. The most important thing is when you receive the batteries, to make sure that they are holding the proper voltage, and I will measure the battery voltage now. So I got my fluke meter here, and I will connect it to the batteries and make sure that the voltage is proper. And they are 13.09 volts. 13.09 volts. This is very good rest voltage. When they are transported, they should be 30 to 50% charged, more like 30, even better. So that's one of the requirements. So the batteries are not fully charged now, obviously not to full voltage. Another thing that's very important is when you have multiple batteries, is to make sure that all of the batteries have the same voltage. If all of the batteries have the same voltage, then it's okay to connect in parallel multiple batteries and have and build a battery bank. If they are different voltages, you should try to make sure that you charge them up to the same voltage first, because if you connect batteries in parallel with different voltages, the batteries with the higher voltages will flow uncontrolled current to the batteries with the low voltage, and that could damage the batteries with low voltage or the batteries with high voltage due to higher current. So let's try to avoid that. We will measure the next battery now to see what the next battery, and as you can see, I have opened up the next battery here, and the next battery voltage is exactly 13,009 again, so I'm very happy with that. Unfortunately, the third battery that I received was measuring 0 volts. We had some suspicions that it might be the BMS falling asleep and not waking up. So the manufacturer advised me to apply charge current for a few minutes and try the voltage again. I did, but the battery voltage was low. It was 10.14 volts after charging for 2 minutes. I'm afraid that this battery might be defective and needs to be returned, so I'm still dealing with the manufacturer on that and exchanging emails. I'll update you later on the status. For now, as my schedule is a little tight here in New Zealand, I would like to get some cruising done in the beautiful New Zealand summer, and I need to set up my new battery bank. Therefore, I'll be going ahead and with a 600 amp hour of battery bank, so only 2 of the batteries in parallel. I will keep you posted for the situation with the third one. The batteries will be installed in the 8D battery boxes. I have rotomolded 8D battery boxes. I have 2 of them, and one of the batteries I'll have to either find another box or secure it somehow without the battery box. So I would like to talk a little bit about the process of replacing lead acid batteries with lithium ion. And of course there is many chemistries of lithium ion batteries, so you have to be careful which one you pick, but for boating purposes LiPo 4 is probably the best to use. They're safe, as safe as lithium batteries can be, if you're not exceeding the charging or discharging characteristics. Those batteries came with extensive testings done before that, so they have such tests as squishing the batteries down and punching through the cells and stuff like that to make sure that there is no fire hazards from the cells, and it's all proven, at least in the manufacturer data sheets. They show those tests, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. One thing that is important is obviously the BMSs of the batteries. You have to choose the proper BMS. The manufacturers of those batteries have a whole bunch of different battery management systems, and I've requested a battery management system with RS485 output, so I can read that on my vessel monitoring system and display the voltages and make sure that the voltages don't go over or below the recommended values. Also, I designed a special bus control system which will control my charge and discharge bus. So I'm rigging up the batteries to have 2 separate buses, one for charging from different sources and one for discharging for the house. So I'm using relays, a special solid state relay, not solid state, but rather relays that use pulse for switching on and off, and they will control the 500 amp buses on both sides. So here is the battery management system that I just designed, and the software is not ready yet, but it will control the charge and discharge bus with those ML-RBS 500 amp relays, and they're bistable. As I said, they require just a pulse of 12 volts, about 5-6 amps for a momentary, and they will switch from one position to another. So the idea here is that this controller here will monitor the battery voltages, will read those 3 ports, are 485 ports that will connect to the 3 batteries, and they will read the values of the cells, and they will read current and combined voltages as well, and temperature and other parameters. And depending on the conditions, if there are 2 important conditions that we have to watch for: over voltage and under voltage. So the over voltage condition, you have to stop all of the charging. So this system has 1, 2, 3 chargers, 4 chargers control. So those 3 chargers are first charger control will control my alternator. The second one will control my first AC charger. The third one will control my second AC charger, and the last one controls my solar charger. So the logic will be such that when we have the over voltage situation, first the battery will shut down all of the controller will shut down all of the charging sources, and sequential for that, after that, will shut down the charging bus. So the battery will be fully disconnected from the boat system. Very similar with the discharge bus, but only reacts on under voltage conditions. So when under voltage condition happens, the battery will switch off the discharge bus, which will stop all of the loads on the battery, and the battery again will be fully isolated from the bus. So that's the idea. Everything's been tested except the logic is not in the controller, but we'll talk about that in another video.